We're back here after LeSure was taken. Ben Tate, Matt Bryant, Peter Thomas, Zach Stacy, Sidney Rice, Justin Blackman, Jermichael Finley, Antonio Gates, and Owen Daniels rounded out the 11th round. And to start off rounded out the 10th round, excuse me. To start out the 11th round, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Floyd, Ryan Broyles, Jaquiz Rogers, and Bernard Pierce were selected, and Martellus Bennett was just taken. Love that pick. Black Unicorn. A lot of value on wide receivers still. Sidney Rice in the 10th round, Floyd and Broyles and DeAndre Hopkins all in the 11th round. This is the reason you can wait on wide receivers in the early rounds. And seeing this now makes me regret the Andre Johnson pick a little bit, to be honest. I wish I had just taken a third wide receiver or a third running back then, maybe, because running back right now is very thin. The other picks made there after Bennett were Willis McGahee, Ben Roethlisberger, and Vincent Brown. I like all of those picks. I mean, even McGahee, they've got the rookie there now, but McGahee's not going away. Like, he's going to get some carries, and he's been good when he's played the past couple seasons. Anyway, looking at running backs here, and this is where I feel like I need to make a pick, just because if I don't start taking some of these guys now, the guys further down the list are really the dregs of the league. Ryan Williams is who I'm going to select. There are a lot of wide receivers I like still. And, well, this guy is on auto draft, so maybe that would... Let's see who the top-ranked player overall is. Overall, D'Angelo Williams, Michael Vick. Okay, so... Kendall Wright's the guy I want. I don't think he's going to get picked by this auto drafter. I want Wright with my next pick, that is to say. So we're going to try and outsmart the system. It might backfire here. I'm going to take Ryan Williams and hope that Wright makes it back. If not, there are plenty of other quality wide receivers still to be had here. The other guys I like in this area are Alshon Jeffrey and Santonio Holmes, Darius Hayward-Bay, even Golden Tate, Brandon LaFell, Andre Roberts, Mohamed Sanu, and way down here, A.J. Jenkins. With Crabtree out for the year and Bolden being an old man, Jenkins is going to have the opportunity to do some work this year for the Niners in that passing attack. And I'll tell you one thing, I trust his quarterback a lot more than I trust Kendall Wright's quarterback. I think Wright is the safer pick in general, just because he's played a season in the NFL already. Oh no, the guy not on auto draft took him. Well, that is on me, I guess. It's possible he might have taken Ryan Williams if I didn't, but yeah, that's too bad. Anyway, getting back to Jenkins, he's a guy who could surprise some people this year and deliver some value with a late round pick like this. And you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I think I'm just going to select him here. Let's double check the running backs, make sure I'm not missing out on anybody I really like. All these guys are backups, really. Sean Green, Danny Woodhead, Michael Bush, Bilal Powell, Donald Brown, Daniel Thomas, Ronnie Hillman, LaMichael James. And, there is something to be said about taking James here for the same reasons I talked about earlier, and just expounding upon what I talked about as far as potential for improvement within the Niners offense. I've already got LeSure and Williams as backup running backs, and only 3 bench spots left to work with. But I do want to spend one of those picks on a running back. Is it worth taking him now? I don't think it is. I'm going to take Jenkins, and this is purely a speculative pick. I will admit that some of these other wide receivers who are available are safer choices, but I'm going to gamble a little bit and see what happens. I'll be back in basically no time at all for you for round 13. All right, rounding out round 12 were Danny Woodhead, Sean Green, Michael Turner, Brian Quick, Malcolm Floyd, the Houston defense, Alshon Jeffrey, Jay Cutler, and Ronnie Hillman. And to start off round 13 were Chris Givens, C. Patterson. Unfortunately, this is one of those learning experiences for me. I don't know who C. Patterson is. So we're going to look up that guy's team in a minute here. And Brandon Myers was the other player selected most recently. So C. Patterson is Cordarrelle Patterson, a wide receiver on the Vikings. I will have to do some research on him. I admit I have never heard of him. This is the thing that happens early on in the fantasy draft season. You make some mistakes, you learn some things. I mean, it's possible that that was a terrible pick, but it's also possible that that was an amazing pick. And the fact that I've never heard of him means that I need to go and read up on that player and find out, make my own assessment as to whether I like that pick or not. I am not educated enough at this point to say. Anyway, getting back to our team needs here. We're looking at wide receivers and maybe a backup QB here. The running backs left, none of them are really catching my eye, making me feel like I need to pick another one, to be honest. Some of these guys have some upside, but it's all if the guy they're behind on the depth chart gets hurt kind of upside. Guys like Robert Turbin and Jonathan Dwyer and Isaac Redman, you know. LaMichael James is the one guy that I am interested in, if only because we've seen him show some explosiveness in actual NFL games, and because Gore is a veteran player who could be on the downside of his career, and if he gets hurt, it might be for good, you know? But with that said, the wide receivers that are available to us are definitely worth more as far as expected total number of fantasy points they're going to put up this year. Will I likely start them over guys like Andre Johnson, Jordy Nelson, and Jeremy Maclin? Not unless it's a bye week, but it's not a bad idea to kind of speculate on some of these upside type players. With that said, the guys I like are Santonio Holmes, Golden Tate, Brandon LaFell, Andre Roberts, Mohamed Sanu, Greg Little I'm not a fan of, but down here, way down here at 205 in the Yahoo rankings is Jacoby Jones. And I have to believe that the Ravens let Anquan Bolden go knowing that, or thinking that Jacoby Jones could absorb some of that production. And he showed that in the playoffs last season. After Brandon Myers was taken, the next picks were Darius Hayward, Bay, Brian Hartline, Joe Flacco, Brandon Lloyd, Jared Cook, and Denard Robinson. So we're looking at running backs and wide receivers and maybe a backup quarterback. I've got 2 bench spots left here, maybe a third if we don't draft a kicker, which is something I typically do. Yeah, I think I'm going to take LaMichael James here. He's my third running back for the bench, and with my next pick, I'll probably take another wide receiver or a backup QB. Yeah, I'll probably skip kickers altogether, to be honest, and just draft one or pick one up before the season starts, dropping some other player, likely one of these last few picks. Anyway, LaMichael James, welcome to the team, and we'll see who comes back to us for this last pick here. I'm probably going to take a QB. Josh Freeman is the guy that I want. I feel like he has the most upside of these players available here. And yeah, if he's there, I'll take him, and then I'll take a wide receiver with my second to last pick and a defense with my last pick. So we'll see what happens. The 2 picks after I took James were Jermaine Gresham and Golden Tate. I like the Golden Tate pick a lot. I mean, I know that they added Percy Harvin, but there's always receptions to go around in every offense in the NFL these days. Everybody's passing. I hate to say that being the Marshawn Lynch owner in this draft, but that's just the way it is. That's the way the league is going. And we as fantasy owners need to adapt to that and acknowledge that wide receiver is going to be very deep for that reason. Chicago Bears defense and Santonio Holmes were selected. So I'm going to take Freeman here as my backup QB. And it's possible that I'll drop him or one of these other players to pick up a kicker. I mean, I would have to for this league, assuming that I'm going to take a wide receiver in the penultimate round here. But yeah, it's a strategy I still endorse, just because you can wait through the preseason, especially if you draft this early, not rostering a kicker because all kickers are exactly the same. I mean, I'm obviously being hyperbolic when I say that, but in general, you can find a fine kicker on the waiver wire at any point during the season. And so you can afford to not draft a kicker and wait the entire preseason to see if maybe one of your guys gets hurt. Like, let's say James Jones blows out his ACL in the second Packers preseason game. I can just drop him and then pick up a kicker, or drop him and pick up some other lottery ticket, and then wait until right before week 1, pick up a kicker, plug him into my lineup, and good to go. That's how it works. That's how I draft. Anyway, I'll be back for the last 2 picks in just a minute.